Hey, what's going on, guys? So, last week we did do a dual live stream, both on Facebook as well as here on YouTube. And I was planning another dual live stream this week, but I decided, you know what, we really didn't have a lot of viewers on Facebook, and I kind of uh, disregarded a lot of the folks over on Facebook last week, and I'm like, I don't want to do that again. And I kind of want to have all my focus on one group of people. So this week, I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to do one focal point and just focus on YouTube only. So I'm only going to have one singular live stream going. So I'm going to wait a few more moments, let some folks trickle in before we get started. I do have some major updates. I don't say major updates, but I do have a lot of things I want to talk about in regards to my personal LJN line that I want to create. And with the new updates from Mattel and their LJN line, how that's going to impact my Maniac Riot wrestling line. I know I spent a lot of time talking about that, but it's something that's important to me. So it's definitely something I want to bring up as often as possible. And the great thing is, it seems like a lot of the folks that watch my channel, it looks like you guys are about as invested in, that line as I am. So that's pretty freaking awesome as well, right? So my wife bought me my wife bought me this puppy. And I'm like, dude, that's freaking awesome. I'm like, dude, you're going to have me showcase this to my viewers, and my viewers are going to watch this and they're going to see me drinking this. I'm like, dude, they're going to sit back and be like, dude, F me, F you. But it's a fun little trinket, right? Little, what is this? It's a freaking bulldog flipping you off. I mean, how awesome is that, though? No hard liquor today. I got my little jungle juice drink, leftovers from last week, and I just opened up a bottle of wine today, and I don't remember what bottle of wine I opened up. I think it's like a blackberry wine or something like that. So, and to think that a whole bottle of blackberry wine, fills up this little thing. So, yeah, I am not a wine drinker. A lot of people that sit there and drink entire bottles of wine in one go, I don't get it. Like, wine to me is not tasty. I'll drink it, but it's not like people sit there and drink it like it's grape juice or something. But like Sheldon Cooper from Big Bang Theory, oh, grape juice that burns. That's exactly how I think about wine, man. All right, folks. So I did write down some focal points for today's episode. And actually, before we get into today's main topic of discussion, I did obviously want to talk about the elephant in the room, which is the death of the biggest wrestling superstar of all time, Hulk Hogan. Now, I did obviously, harp on it a little bit during one of my last videos. What was it, during the Latoonie video or Big Rubber Guys video? I don't remember which one. I thought it was probably during the Latoonie episode, but I want to talk about it again a little bit here as well, because that's something that I think we are all affected by, and this is what bothers me about that. When someone dies, especially someone that has the sort of impact that Hulk Hogan had on so many kids. That touched so many lives, and not just thinking about the fan base. Think about the family, man. Man just dies, and you want to, wish, you send your condolences to the family. Allow the family and friends to grieve, right? But no, like you read the responses that day, and response after response, all you're seeing is all of these haters, like, like it couldn't have happened to a better man, and this racist is going to hell, and all like those type of responses. Like, what kind of scum does that? Regardless of how you feel about the man, who sends that type of hate, right? And I got into it with one of these guys on Facebook, and I'm like, this guy. I mean, there were plenty of people I could have chose, but there was one person in particular. I don't want to say I singled him out, but just wrote the most idiotic thing, and I kind of realized what kind of person this was, and I couldn't really go back and make arguments, because certain people, you can't argue with ignorance, and that's sad. Some people are just set in their ways, and it doesn't matter how much information you provide, how much of an argument you make. They're set in their ways, and then what I found funny is, someone reached out to me, hey, this clown is bashing you, and like I had to go back to that feed and see some of the arguments, and I kind of see that, like, oh, so and so was saying, oh, I scared this person off. I'm like, I kind of laughed at it. I'm like, no, nobody scared me off. I'm like, look, I see what kind of clowns I'm dealing with, what kind of ignorance, and I just chose not to engage. So why would I be scared off? So I kind of laughed at that comment, but I just let it be. But I wanted to talk about life of Hulk Hogan, obviously, because he was a childhood hero, and there are certain people in life that certain celebrity deaths that really impact you. Because I think Hulk Hogan for me was like the first superhero of sorts. When I feel like later on in life, someone like Jason David Frank, who was the original Green Power Ranger, later on the White Power Ranger, then he played a couple Red Power Rangers, later on the Black Power Ranger, etc. So he played multiple Rangers over the years. My favorite Ranger of all time. I was 8 years old when Power Rangers came out, and for the longest time, Power Rangers was my favorite show, right? So uh, Power Rangers was like a real, for me, real life superheroes. Even though even at 8 years old, I knew they were fiction, right? I knew it was just a TV show, right? But they were larger than life characters. So when Jason David Frank died, that was an impactful death. That was an impactful celebrity death. Having Hulk Hogan die, it was an impactful celebrity death. And having anybody talk bad about Hulk Hogan, it hurts. And I don't think a lot of people realize that when they're making these comments. And it's like, keep your comments to yourself. You can't say something nice, don't say it at all, type of deal. So, hey DJ, what's up, buddy? You know what? Kind of mentioned that, and that's kind of what I'm thinking. When you mention that, as far as trying to kill off the big rubber guys, I'm pretty much gonna mention that same exact thing. I think it's a possibility. Me, Instagram is the way to go. I just created. What was it? Was it? Yeah, I just created an Instagram. People have been telling me for forever, create a Facebook account, and I never had a Facebook. Like 2 years ago, I just created Facebook because I had created YouTube, and this Facebook was a way to get my name out there. And I created a Waddy's channel Facebook, and somehow the Waddy's channel didn't create. It only created Matthew Watson, and I'm like, so everything that's saved was saved as a Matthew Watson and not the Waddy's channel account. So I'm like, okay, whatever. I just left it be. So like just like 3 or 4 days ago, I just created Instagram for the first time ever, and I just created a few Instagram profile pictures and a couple uploads. But I'm very late to the party, but I'm gonna start doing some uploads. But I have to get my face out there, my name out there, especially if I want to start doing this whole Maniac Right Wrestling. I have to advertise for myself as much as possible. So hopefully I am somewhat successful, because YouTube for me really was the first time that this was like the first social media thing for me. And before that, LinkedIn, I guess, would be considered the first official social media. And that was like, I only created LinkedIn because it was a homework assignment. But hey, Irish, what's happening, buddy? He still goes in the house. Hey, Irish, I always appreciate you tuning in, brother. Always, man. To see how these LJNs compare to Big Rubber guys in the Latoonie. You know, man, that is what scares me, though. As a buyer, the price is right on point. The price is perfect for the Mattel WWE Superstars. A buyer, I love it. Right on point, perfect. I could not be more thrilled. As a seller, that worries me to no end. And I got a bunch of stuff I want to talk about in regards to Mattel releasing their figures, and the pricing is a huge part of that. They're half the price, exactly, and that's a major issue. Will they be better? I don't think, I don't know. Will they be better? That's the question. I think they might. Will they use the same rubber as original LGNs? Because Latoonie does an awesome job at mimicking the original LGNs. Now, big rubber guys, their rubber is like excessively rough, excessively hard. So they're very close to LGNs, but the rubber is not the same, right? You can go to someone like Lady Luxe Leather on eBay, and they've got good rubber, but it's not exactly on point with LGN. Very close, but not identical. Random Treasures, again, they create rubber LJN style figures. Are they 100% identical to LJN? Very, very close. But some figures are very close. But then you got figures like Bob Backlund, which is pretty much their Bob Backlund, which I complain about because the rubber is like, it's like paper mache. You bend the arm back and forth a few times, bam, the rubber starts ripping. So when you look at a figure like that and you're paying $130 for it, you know, the quality is not there. But then you start looking at someone like Dino Bravo, super solid rubber, and you think, okay, $130 with that quality rubber, incredible. So it really depends on which rubber or which figure you're getting. But let me read some of these comments. Hulk Hogan is the greatest legend. 100%, buddy. And I watched wrestling for a lot of years in the 70s. I followed Hulk Hogan's career he was the greatest legend that ever stepped in the ring. And, you know, I really wish I could have seen him when I was a kid wrestle in Japan. Now, obviously, I grew up watching him in WWF, you know, late 80s, early 90s. And when he left for WCW, obviously, I wasn't watching WCW. I was still watching WWF, and up until around 97-ish. And by 98, I think by 98, I was done with wrestling altogether. But so, I mean, I spent, you know, a good chunk of my wrestling life watching Hulk Hogan. And he will always be my all-time favorite wrestler. That's never going to change. But you go back and you watch YouTube nowadays and you see his fighting, his matches in Japan, and it's like you see him wrestle in WWF, you see him wrestle in Japan. It's like night and day. Like his takedowns and his agility, his different moves, skill sets. He was a legitimate wrestler in Japan, and I'm like, I don't know why they never allow that skill, those moves to be utilized in WWF. Like you look at him in WWF, and really, he was only a rake across the back. He was a punch to the face. He was a boot to the face. He was a leg drop guy, and he was a body slam guy. And where was the wrap around the legs to take the guys down by the feet type of deal, and the flying over the ropes type of guy, and all that cool stuff you would see from in Japan and whatnot. Andre the Giant, same thing. I always talk about Andre the Giant. You never see Andre the Giant flying over the ropes like Superman in WWF. Andre the Giant was a booty bust guy. He was a headbutt guy, and that was essentially, he was a bear hug guy, and that was it. But in Japan, oh heck yeah, in Japan, Andre was doing everything. Oh, sorry guys, these messages are coming super quick. I got to go backtrack a little bit. Oh man, I am way behind. Hogan contributed and endlessly to wrestling, but as a person, much like Warrior, not a great guy, but the character and contribution. Yeah. And one of the guys that was like hating on him was trying to send me like all these clips about, remarks that he made and whatnot. I mean, I don't know about all that stuff. I mean, I was watching a video from Jammers, and he was saying like, hey, everyone was saying, everyone now and then says something that they would have regretted, and can you really hold that against a person? I mean, I don't know what the scenario was. I think the certain situation was like his daughter was dating someone and he didn't approve it or something. I don't know. Like I can't speak on the situation because I'm not familiar with the scenario. So, was this a bad guy? I don't know. I don't know the situation. So, did he use some words that he probably regretted? Yeah. I mean, I went back and okay, yeah, you know what? They're right. He did say something that shouldn't have been said. The man was, I could also make an argument, you know what? He was also born in the 50s. Wait, is that an excuse? Not really. But, my grandmother, she was born in 1920s. She used to say the word all the time. But she was also the sweetest person on the planet. Was she, would I call her racist? Not even close. It just happens to be that, that was the period that she was born in, and that just happens to be happened to be the stuff that was the nomenclature, for lack of a better word, that was said. And can anybody throw that against her? I mean, my grandma died back in 2020, back in 2000, and like I said, she was born in the 20s. And would anybody say that she was a hateful, spiteful person? No. If you met her, and you would know what kind of loving person she was, you would know what was in her heart. And if you were to hear her use that word, you would not be offended, not one bit. You would laugh it off, because you would know what kind of human being she was. With Hulk Hogan, again, he was born in the 50s, grew up in the 60s. It was a different time. That's not an excuse, but It's different for someone born in the 80s, 90s, 2000, etc. Because you're more familiar with the word, and you realize that it's a word that makes people feel like dirt, and so you know better not to use that word, right? So it's easy for someone like us to not use the word ever. But I mean, that's just me making an excuse for him. Uh, I'm not trying to make excuses for anybody. I'm just giving I'm just giving rationale. So uh, hopefully that helps a little bit. I don't know, but again, I just like I say, he's my favorite wrestler, and I just don't like hearing negative things said about him, and I don't want to. I guess it's more you don't want the negative things to be true. Now, what happens if you find out that, yeah, 100% everything that was said about him was true? Then your whole mindset of the person that you grew up admiring, it was false, and you don't, and then your whole image of it is gone, right? So, but that we all know that's not the case, and you have people who either a absolutely loved him, but now it's popular to hate on him. So now that's why they're all like, calling him names and hating him because it's popular. And I just think that makes them scumbags. And then there's people who've never watched and don't know anything about him, making all these statements, and that could make them just as bad. So no, I will leave it up to the people who actually grew up watching him and actually know what's in his heart to make that determination, how they feel about the man. So, and you ask his friends, his colleagues, there's a reason why all of these former wrestlers and current wrestlers are, sending out their condolences to him because they know what he meant to wrestling. So, uh, off topic now, going back to Mattel, guys, because again, that is the main focal point of the video, right? I really want to hit on these subjects, and of course I do want to answer your questions as I'm going along. There are a lot of comments here, and I'm trying to read your comments and kind of answer your questions as I move along. Um, I don't know where I left off. My vision is horrific, and everything is like super blurry. So uh, compared to be okay, read that half the price, they would be better. Uh, I know I read that part. I pre-order all of. All right, fly that. Logan Paul. You know what? Fly. Same thing here, bud. With Mattel, yes, I ordered all of them. And as far as Logan Paul, that is one of those guys. I'm on both sides. Number one, it's like, why would you need a Logan Paul? That doesn't make any sense to me. He did have a sort of participation in WWF, WWE at some point. So I can say he at least had participation. It's like if you created a Donald Trump figure, he at least had a participation in WWF, right? So, if you created a Trump figure, it makes sense. If you created I don't know, if you created, I don't know who's a small character, uh, Drew Carey. If you created a Drew Carey LJN, it would make sense because he did have a small role in WWF, WWE, whatever you want to call it. So yeah, it's fine. Uh, who am I creating? With my personal line right now, I'm trying to be different, and I'm not having wrestlers with part of my line. I'm creating YouTubers. So, like, who am I to judge or complain about a Logan Paul being added to Mattel Superstars when my line is going to consist of me? It's going to consist of, guys like, Bone Breaking Action, of course. It's going to consist of New 80s Revolution. But later on, I might include for me, that superstar is going to include Sin Bodhi. Yes, I do want to have him added to the roster. Did I put it up? No, I don't think I put it up. But Sin Bodhi, he got me card backs, front of the card and back of the card for the singular figures for all of us. For me with my army figure, for me with my double figure, for Bone Breaking Action and for New Age Revolution. So that's 4 figures right there, and they're insanely good. I saw those and I'm like, this has got to happen. Whatever I do, this has got to happen. And what I love about the back of the card, when you look at the back of the card, it's not going to be the figure with Digicolor. When you look at the back of it, it's basically the figure in grayscale, 3D printed. And I like it better that way because let's say you've got the army, the army figure, right? And it could be an ACU color scheme. Well, let's say the time comes, the figure's released, and it's not ACU, but it's in BDU color. Well, if fans are expecting an ACU color scheme and they get it in the mail and they got a BDU color scheme, like, what the hell is this? I thought it was going to be Army digital, blue digital color scheme. Why is it an Army, BDU color scheme, right? Woodland color scheme. So that's why I like that. But also with that Army color scheme, I'm probably looking at like 3 different variants, 3 different color schemes with the desert color scheme, the woodland color scheme, and the digital pattern. So I'm liking the ability to have the grayscale. Also with the double look, I'm probably going to have, there's 2 different versions of the double that Sin Bodhi created for me. So I might come out with 2 different variants, possibly one with black jacket and red shirt, maybe one with red jacket and black shirt. So that's a possibility. Have a couple variants mixed in. And like I said, they're not going to be the same fighting pose. They're going to be altered just slightly. So I'm really excited about that possibility. But the Target exclusive with the Mattel WWE Superstars. Prospects of releasing my line. The Superstars for Target, as we know, are $25 a pop. With my particular line, I am going to be, right now, I'm going to be self-investing. I did put up a GoFundMe because it's going to be incredibly expensive. The goal was, guys, I don't want to do pre-orders. That was very important to me. I didn't want to do pre-orders because I don't want people to say, hey, I want this figure. Let me pre-order $50, $100, whatever. And then they'll have the buyer sit around for, 6 months, 8 months, a year, whatever, waiting for the pre-order to arrive. It was very important to me that when the buyer pays for the item, the figure is already on hand. They purchase it. I could ship it out to them immediately. That was my goal. So if I self-invest, let's say it's $20,000, $30,000 to buy the mold and buy the 500 figures, because according to Ahmad at Latoonie, the factory will not create less than 500 figures. That's the requirement, 500 figures minimum. And it's going to cost about anywhere between $6,000 to $12,000 for 1 or 2 molds. And he said that you're probably going to get about 2, maybe 300 molds out of each or 200 to 300 figures out of each mold. So you're probably gonna have to buy multiple molds out of that. So I looked at that. I'm like, I probably won't be able to do it individually. I set up a GoFundMe and say, hey, if there's anybody out there that could donate and help, that would freaking be amazing. Um, not having any success. I've had a few donors, which has been amazing, which has been awesome. But overall, it looks like I'm going to have to come 100% out of pocket for that. But the goal for me was $50, right? Because that's what Big Rubber Guys is charging. That's what Latoonie is charging. If you think about it, look at the 1989 Grand Toys. They were charging what, $17, $18 back in 89. And based on today's market value, about $40, $45, $50. So they're right on point. $50 is about what LJNs should be selling for in today's market value. If you look at Random Treasures, their customs, they're selling for around 130 bucks. They're probably the only customizers that can get their customs to sell for 130 bucks from on their Etsy page. And I think a lot of that has to do with Jason, New Age Revolution, marketing his figures. When he gets on there and he talks them up and everything, a lot of his followers, they're going to, support him. They're going to go on there. They're going to buy it up as well. And I've talked about this as well. If you go on to Etsy, you buy them for 130 bucks, you turn around and you sell those exact figures on eBay, they're probably going to sell for like anywhere between $60 to $80. Like I could buy it directly from Etsy, 130 bucks, get them in, list them immediately on eBay, get about $60 to $80 for them with free shipping, right? And get about 60 to 80 bucks on them. So really, Net is the only person that's going to get, her market value for her customs. So $50 for licensed figures are about the market value for those figures. So that's why I was saying that's the price I want to get for my figures that I'm selling or that I want to sell. But if I go all in 100% without pre-orders, in order to make up that investment and try to earn some kind of profit so that I can at least pay for the mold and maybe even pay for the second mold, I might have to sell my figures for $100. And can I sell 500 figures for $100? Now and my first figure I want to sell is Jason Nupp, New Age Revolution. Because with his amount of following, I think he's the best marketable character to sell from my line. I don't think I am a very marketable character right now. Now, I think once I am able to get one or two figures out, yes. I think once a lot of people that buy from me and they see the figures, I think maybe once I get my devil figure out, maybe even once I get my soldier figure out, I think that would interest people to invest their money for that fourth figure. But I can't come out that with the very first figure myself. I don't think it would sell very well. So that's the issue that I'm running in right off the bat, is that I would have to probably sell that first figure off the bat at $100. That would obviously, hopefully, reimburse me for the first couple of molds I would have to buy. It would reimburse me for having to pay Sinbodi for his 3D prints for that first figure. It would cover the factory for the 500 figures. I would have to obviously pay Sin for any sale made. I'd have to pay Jason for any figure that sells, obviously, because it's of his figure, right? I would probably have to pay Ahmad for any figure that's sold, because it's selling under the Latoonie brand, if that's what we choose to do. So that's all cutting into profit. So at the end of the day, if I did sell them for $100, and that's not even including taxes or anything, assuming that no taxes were taken out from this, that's like what? Maybe if I'm lucky, maybe $5,000 left over. So that's what I'm thinking about. And now you factor taxes. Now I'm looking at a loss. Now Jason and Sin, they both told me that they may not even require me to pay them out. So, but I don't want to do that. I want to take care of them, right? You know, I'm using their image. I'm using Sin's hard work for his creation. I want to take care of them. I want to make sure that they're compensated somehow. But let's say, you know, they give me a thumbs up and like, hey, you're good. I don't require payment. I still got to pay a mod because I'm using his factory. I'm using his banner, his Latoonie banner. So after taxes, how much is left over? If I sell them for $100 and I sell all 500, maybe 10,000 is left over. Okay, that'd be enough to pay for the 2 molds. Maybe I go in for a couple thousand more to buy 2 molds, so I could buy the second figure, the bone breaking action figure. Then I got to go my own funds to buy the 500 figures for bone breaking action, right? Do I sell those for 500? Do I sell them for 50? Do I sell them for 100 again? But we backtrack. Mattel, they're selling their figures for $25. Even people that watch my channel that are as invested in this potential release of the whole Maniac Right Wrestling line, even you guys that are as invested in this as I am, I mean, how often would you guys be as interested in a $50 or $100 figure when you guys could get a legitimate Mattel one for $25? I mean, that's why I looked at it. Once I saw Mattel release LJN Superstar, their own Superstars line, I'm like, as a fan, I'm like, oh my God, yes, that makes me so happy. But as a potential seller, all I could think is, not my God, no, not now. And then I'm like, okay, what are you guys selling these for? $50, same as BRG, same as Latoonie. We could make do. But once I saw the $25 price tag, I'm like, oh my God, they're going to put us all out of business. Let me backtrack, guys. Let me read a couple of these messages, and I'm going to start talking a little bit more. Let's see. So I think I left off at DJ Dark here. The greatest legend. Worried about Latoonie as they are smaller, less talent sign right now, yet the figures feel the best. Yep. And I've said that already. Like, I feel like Latoonie, they are the most LJN-esque figures, hands down. When you feel the rubber, it just matches. To me, it's the most, just like when you feel like either Wrestle Something wrestlers or Grapplers and Gimmicks are the most Hasbro-style wrestlers, I feel like Latoonie is easily the most LJN style. You know, big rubber guys, they do an excellent job, but the rubber is way too hard. So, I mean, for big rubber guys, it's their own flavor, it's their own style, and I like that they have their own aspect of LJN. But Latoonie is definitely the most, is definitely the closest. Excited to see what they can get. Nervous about the market. Latoonie looks too expensive. Hey, DJ. No. Latoonie is pretty much the same cost as Big Rubber Guys, $50. Now, it really depends on which figure you're looking at. Now, if you're looking at like the Macho Man 12-inch figure, now like the 12-inch figure is like very similar to your Hasbro 12-inch talking figures. Now that's like $70. And they also got the 12-inch Legion of Doom, either gold or red variants. Those are also $70. I think I think Legion of Doom is a 2-pack, so those might be like 140, 170. I forget what the price was on the 2-pack, but those are like 140, $150, 170, something like that. But the actual LJNs themselves are like $50, same as Big Rubber Guys, and that to me is fair market value. But and their Hasbro style figures, they're like $35. Now, when you look at like zombie sailors, wrestle something wrestlers, grapplers and gimmicks, their Hasbro style are all $40, right? Epic Toys $40. And even grapplers and gimmicks, even their stuff comes out to be $45, $50 sometimes. Zombie Sailors comes out to be $45, $50 sometimes. So at least with the mods, Hasbro style figures coming out at 35, at least those stay the same price. So regardless of quantity being released, if it's 1 of 100, 1 of 500, etc., unlike these other companies, he doesn't mark up the prices because one has a higher quantity or less quantity. So that's another thing why I respect Latoonie, and that's another reason why I want to work with him, and I want, if possible, to have my brand fall under his banner. So to me, he's the most honest. I feel like Big Rubber Guys, even their figures, they're not always $50. Even their figures come up to like $60, $65 sometimes. Like the Sergeant Slaughter GI Joe in white, for example, that wasn't $50. That was $65 as an example. I think one of the Ric Flairs was $65. So even their LJN style figures go up in price from time to time. It depends on, is it a special exclusive, like a SDCC exclusive or something? So, but their products is pretty stable. Can't believe they make a Logan Paul, and I think Logan Paul is the only one on Target right now that's still available. But the Dusty Rhodes and John Cena figures were sold out, and I looked out that I actually got on Target.com, and I actually spaced out and forgot about it, as a matter of fact. And I was watching my video that I posted on Friday morning, and I think that was the Latoonie 12-inch Macho Man review I posted. And at the end of the video, I'm like, yeah, get on Target and get your LJN WWE Superstars. I'm like, oh shoot, I forgot. So I reminded myself in my own video, and luckily they were still available, and I picked them up then. But I'm happy that they came out with figures. I'm glad to see LJN's back in stores ish. Will they actually be in stores, or are they just only going to be online? I don't know. It's like when you get on YouTube and you see Pokemon, and you see like all these adults going to Costco, or was it Costco, or what's the other one? Sam's Club, whatever. And they buy like 10 million Pokemon cards, all these scalpers. And I'm like, it's absolutely sickening. You buy like pallets and pallets and pallet loads of Pokemon cards, and you're probably selling a pack of cards that probably costs like $1, and you're going to sell them on eBay for like $50 for a single pack. And I feel like people are going to go to Target. They're going to do the exact same thing if they end up selling them in stores. You're going to buy a pallet of wrestling figures for like, I don't know, like 50 of them. And you're going to end up selling them for 10 times the price. And that's sickening. Like I said, at $25, if I was a smart man, I should have bought up a ton of them. That way, I would have them on hand. If my viewers reached out to me, hey man, do you have any of these extra figures on hand? Yeah. How much you want for it? They sold on Target for $25. I'll take $25 for it. Because at least people know that, man, I'm not gonna overcharge my viewers for darn for anything, man. Just hey, this is what I paid for it. Reimburse me the difference or reimburse me what I paid. I'm good. So freaking scalpers, that drives me nuts. I'm a reseller. So obviously, if I buy something and I want to resell something for a profit, no doubt. But there's a difference between scalping something and reselling something. Like if I go to a thrift store or you go to like one of these Amazon stores and you buy something that's going to be thrown away or what is it? Yeah, like a thrift store, right? And you don't buy if something doesn't sell, they're gonna throw it in a dumpster or something, right? So you're saving it, some vintage item that people probably wouldn't have been able to locate otherwise. So you're saving it from the trash heap. That's a different story than what like these Pokemon buyers are doing. So uh kind of went off topic, but John Cena, I like the figure. I think it looked good. Logan Paul, I bought it because it's part of the collection. I think all of these figures I would buy because they're part of the collection, and that's the only reason I'd buy them. Like I said earlier, I can't really complain about Logan Paul because, I mean, my line is going to consist of YouTubers, right? That's why I'm trying to make my line different. I don't want to make wrestlers. Everybody else is doing wrestlers. I want to make my line different. I want people that could never have their own action figure can get the opportunity to have their own figure. So, or fans get the opportunity to see their favorite YouTuber and add something to their collection. Like I said, that's why I think Jason Up would be an awesome first release because he's got a lot of followers, a lot of he's got a cult following. I don't know if that's disrespectful to say. He's got a cult following. No, I don't think that's disrespectful to say that that's a. I don't know what's a better word than cult. Because if you say cult, then it makes it sound like it's Charles Manson or something. he's got a following. He's got a big following. Okay, let's put it that way. He's got a big following, and I think a lot of people would enjoy a Jason Up LJN figure. So I think that's why I think that one would be a good first release. And like I said, Bone Breaking Action. I mean, he may not have the largest subscriber count in the world, but he's also got one of the most impressive looks, and I think it's darn criminal that he doesn't have massive thousands and thousands of viewers, thousands and thousands of subscribers because he's got one of the best darn YouTube channels out there. I've been following his channel for years, and his look, his videos are top notch. I mean, the personality, the attitude, it's insanely good. And his action figure, it's gonna match up with any other LJN out there. So the only reason I wouldn't put him out there first is because same reason I won't put me out there first. Are we marketable? Me and BBA, we talk about this all the time. Can our action figures sell? So we both understand that we probably couldn't get the most sales in the world. We might make 10, 50 sales, but I kind of feel like Jason Up could probably sell 100 figures. But what can I do with the extra 400, right? But I'm hoping over time that they will sell. Let me get back to these questions. Logan Paul, before anyone good, they needed an LGN. I would have started with Taker, Flair, and possibly the Brainbusters because they were from the right time period. I definitely think that those guys are all going to be created. Latoonie's already making a Ric Flair. I mean, you're probably going to get a couple Ric Flairs from Latoonie, a few Ric Flairs from Latoonie. There's going to be a nice cartoon Ric Flair from Latoonie, which is going to be awesome. On top of a couple other actual LJN Ric Flairs. Now you've got a few different Ric Flairs from Big Rubber Guys, and yeah, there's no doubt that there will be a Mattel Ric Flair LJN, no doubt. I mean, one of the biggest superstars ever, he's coming. Undertaker, I think that's going to be pretty much a shoe-in at sometime. Brainbusters, I don't know. Possibly. Personally, I kind of feel like they're going to start with the 89 roster that never was. Now, I already made tomorrow's magazine review video, and in that video, I kind of mentioned this exact same thing. But if you watched the most recent video from New Age Revolution, he kind of talked about this exact same thing. Now, Net over at Ram Treasures, she made the rest of the figures that Grand Toys omitted. We're talking about Bad News Brown and Brother Love, the Bushwhackers. We're talking about who am I missing? Barbarian and who else am I missing? Brother Love, Barbarian, Bushwhackers, Brother. Damn, who am I missing? Oh, Smash. So Demolition Smash. So Ram Treasures already made those figures, right? And if Mattel makes those, we already spent like $130+ on those figures. So even if Mattel makes them, they're only $25, but it's like it's going to be kind of like a waste of money to spend more money when you already paid and you already have good figures on hand. Additionally, this is what really frustrates me. Next series, you're going to get a Steve Austin figure. Ram Treasures made that exact same figure. Kevin Pelkey, Print Fury made his resin figure. They work with Ram Treasures. Ram Treasures takes that figure, they turn it into rubber. Why would Mattel basically snatch up an existing figure and create that same exact pose? So that bothered me that Mattel hijacked an existing figure instead of creating their own. So I kind of feel like Mattel is going to create the 89 release of Smash and Barbarian, Brother Love, Bushwhackers, etc. And they're going to create the exact same figures that Ram Treasures has already released. The bonus is $25. You're going to have a blister bubble, and you're going to have them on card. And you're going to have an original poster, because I'm pretty sure they're going to have posters with the same as the LJNs. So, but with that being said, value or resale of Ultimate Warrior mint on card, because that's the last thing I had written on here, and I want to talk about that real quick. Because next series, they're also releasing a King Kong Bundy. They're also releasing a Ultimate Warrior, right? The exact same figures you got from, King Kong Bundy Series 2 LJN, Grand Toy Series 6 Ultimate Warrior. Literally no change whatsoever. Same fighting pose, same look, same color scheme. And this is what makes me mad. I own an original black card Ultimate Warrior, LJN. If any old person can go out and buy a Mattel Superstars Ultimate Warrior for $25, what does that do value-wise to my LJN Ultimate Warrior? Now, based on condition of an LJN, Grand Toys Ultimate Warrior, if the bubble's cracked or coming off the card or whatnot, it's still a $3,500 figure. If it's mint, perfect car, perfect bubble, no dents, no cracks, no, it's not yellow or anything. That figure could be like upwards of $8,000 to $10,000. If that figure is graded, a $12,000 figure. So you know how angry that makes me to. I love the fact that I can get an Ultimate Warrior on black card, but I don't mind if it was literally a brand new Ultimate Warrior. But the fact that they're creating the exact same one, now I'm never going to sell my Grand Toys Ultimate Warrior. That's staying with me to death. But what happens if someone has cancer and now I got to pay? I need to get some quick money. I need to sell my Ultimate Warrior. Who's going to pay thousands of dollars for that figure when they can just go get that stupid Mattel Ultimate Warrior for $25? Some people are going to argue, you know what? It's going to have literally no effect whatsoever. People still want the original. They're going to pay top dollar for the original because Mattel's Mattel. It's like original Thundercats, original He-Man. Yes, you could have an original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 88, 89 card. You could have the 2022, 23 card. Exact same card backing, exact same figure, but you know what? That 89 card is going to be worth $100, $150, $200, whereas that 2023 card is going to be worth $20. But collectors, why are you going to spend hundreds when you can spend 20, right? Why are you going to spend thousands when you can spend 25? So that makes me mad. So I'm on the bubble on both sides. I'm happy as a buyer, as a collector, and as an owner of said figure. I'm furious. As a collector and buyer, I love seeing the Mattel Superstars come out because, oh my God, I love being able to collect these things and adding new collections and adding new figures to the collection. As a potential seller, someone who wants to create his own business, and someone who's actually been going deep and heavy into this over the last couple of months, disappointed. I wouldn't say furious, but this definitely hurts. I think this is really going to hurt the business a lot. So, I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of curious what you guys think. At this point, is it even worthwhile even going for it at this point? If I should go for it, should I substitute? Should I even forget doing the original plan of the YouTubers and try go for actual wrestlers? If I should stick with it, should I wait a few months, wait a year, or keep going as planned? I mean, I don't know. At this point, I'm kind of stuck because the more and more I talked about it, the more and more excited I got, and this kind of put a damper in my plan. I don't want to say I lost motivation, but this definitely got me thinking a whole lot more, right? So, all right, let me get back to some more of these questions here. Still remember having to travel 2 hours to a theater in big city to watch WrestleMania, be a closed circuit. I'm trying to think. Did I ever watch a WrestleMania? Because the only thing I could ever remember watching, I want to say 90. Was it 92? I think 92 Royal Rumble is pretty much the only thing I can ever remember ordering. Because I know one of my brother's girlfriends, I remember going to her house and we were supposed to like bring a VHS tape to tape in. We never did. And I think obviously 92 Rumble was the Ric Flair Rumble. I mean, that was like to me the '92 Royal Rumble was the greatest Rumble of all time. But as a kid, I mean, I remember the Rumble now. Like I've seen that Rumble multiple times over the course of my life. But like if I rehash memories from watching it as a kid, I don't remember watching it as a kid. The only thing I remember as a kid, like the most odd, weird moments, like I remember like Berserker coming in and like as a kid saying they're like, "Oh my god, get Berserker out!" Like why does that one odd scene stand out in my memory? Like I can't remember anything else about watching that as a kid, but I remember that one moment. Like why? But yeah, I mean, I remember '92 Rumble because, like I said, I've seen it 10,000 times over the course of my life. Paul was quite the choice. Oh man, I need to get with Mattel, and I need to have them make my figure. But you know what? It's funny though. Actually put out a poll on my YouTube community notes because I wanted the viewers to kind of vote to see which one they would like to see as my first release. I was actually deeply surprised that nobody chose this figure as the first release, and only because I felt like this one had the best fighting pose of all of them. Because he was kind of like he was like your Hulk Hogan fighting pose, at least the most closely resembling one. So, but no votes there. Uh, Matthew salute. Oh man, let's get a playable Austin. That would be nice. Shoot, man, you ain't even kidding. Because like I said, the one that Ram Treasures created. No, this was the Ram Treasures. I thought it was this, but no, it's the one straight up like so. That's Ram Treasures. I think that's the exact same one Mattel's coming out with, and that is not a worthy figure. Um, let me go back to some of these. Where did I leave off at? Sorry, I don't remember where I left off at. Here we go. Yeah, I don't think anybody wanted. I'm reading like all over the place through Facebook and stuff, and I don't think anybody is happy about Logan Paul. And I'm trying to think, Logan Paul. Oh man, because there's two Pauls, and I'm trying to think which one is which. Uh, is Logan Paul the crypto scheme dude, or was Logan Paul the boxer, or were they both boxers? I don't remember. Was Logan Paul the guy that was supposed to fight who's the guy with the dreads? Oh man, I, he was with the what the hell was that? Damn, they haven't talked about freaking damn. I always forget these guys' names. It was Logan Paul. It was Mr. Beast, and the freaking black dude with the damn dreadlocks. What the hell is his name? I I don't follow these guys. I don't follow any of these guys. The only reason I know about them is because the one of the freaking YouTubers I watch all the time, he does like a whole damn comedy or a whole series talking about them all the time. I think he had a K in his name. K. Uh I cannot remember his freaking name. The guys that were doing the Lunchables or something. Anybody have any idea what the hell I'm talking about? Yeah, I'm drawing a blank. I have no freaking idea. I think they were doing Lunchable or some kind of Lunchly. I think that's what it was called. But I don't remember their freaking names, man. And I think the one dude I'm talking about, I think he had a song called "In the Thick of It" or something, and he got ripped to shreds because everybody was making fun of him because the song "In the Thick of It" was supposed to be really shitty. But I listened to that song, and I don't know, man. Like maybe the lyrics weren't all that great, but like I mean, I thought it had a good beat to it. Like I enjoyed the song. It's like Rebecca Black with her whole Friday song. I mean, the lyrics were terrible, but like it had a good beat. Like the music was good. So what the heck was that? You know what? This is gonna bother the hell out of me. So I gotta look that up. Who sang "In the Thick of It"? KSI. Jesus Christ, that was the guy. KSI. Damn. I knew it started with a K. That's all I knew. So Logan Paul, KSI, and Mr. Beast. Damn. Like three large YouTubers, man. They're all like freaking billionaires. Like, how the hell can you be a billionaire off of YouTube? How insane is that? Like, I'm scrambling to get like 1,000 subscribers, and these guys are like multi-billionaires off of YouTube. How insane is that? Oh man. Where'd I leave off? Yeah, it's all dudes who I think that is what modern wrestling is missing. Too busy to get there. Legit trainers. Style didn't fit the WWF Hogan as Ferranzi. He was older by the time, so I think he modified his style. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense too. But of course, with Hogan, man, it could be Hulk Hogan at 27 years old, man. It could be Hulk Hogan at 55. To me, I love Hogan, man, but let's be honest. Hulk Hogan, he always looked like a 55-year-old guy. Oh man. Oh man. I just looked over at my bulldog. I'm not even that drunk, but I looked over at the bulldog. I'm like, this motherfucker just flipped me off. uh, that thing is so freaking awesome. He also blocked the union. Ventura tried to, I talked about that myself as well on my video tomorrow with my magazine review. I kind of feel like that magazine review video is probably gonna tick some people off because I kind of I don't say roasted, but I kind of went off on Jesse Ventura about that. That I kind of am ticked off at Jesse Ventura because I felt like he turned a lot of people on Hulk Hogan because he blamed Hogan for turning him in because he tried to unionize wrestling, but same thing I kind of said in the video. Tomorrow's video. If it wasn't for Hulk Hogan, and today, excuse me, in today's wrestling, you wouldn't have people with multi-million-dollar contracts. People wouldn't be in movies. They wouldn't be in music videos. They wouldn't have family time. They wouldn't have medical and dental and all that stuff. So it's you can blame him for turning him or not being a team player or unionizing whatever back in the 80s, but all of the stuff that wrestlers have today, that's because Hulk Hogan, man, he started it all. Let's be honest. And I think Jesse Ventura was just being freaking petty. And I know what Hulk Hogan has accomplished. I don't know a lot about what Jesse Ventura accomplished. outside of being a commentator, the only thing that I could say that Jesse Ventura has as a claim to fame is, governor of Minnesota. So, and I think if Hogan wanted to, he could have been like, governor of California or something if he wanted to. So, uh, I think just Ventura's just being goddamn petty. But I wasn't really a Ventura fan. I mean, I really didn't think. I mean, I don't really think about it though. But I was a super Hulk Hogan fan, so of course I'm going to value Hogan more than Ventura, of course. Yep. Bill Cosby and I don't know. I can't look at Ghost Dad the same way anymore. Yeah, same thing with Bill. What was the story of Bill Cosby? I forget. They say that like he drugged women and raped them or something. Was that the story? Because I completely forget. But like I feel like if you're a superstar, you're famous, and you really don't have the need to drug people or rape them. So, and I've seen the women that came forward to claim that he sexually assaulted them. I'm like, no, I'm sorry, ladies, nobody's sexually assaulting you. But was it proven in court that he did? I mean, he went to jail, right? So it must have been proven. But I mean, was I really a Cosby fan? Like I said, I mean, we all watched the Cosby Show back in the day. Maybe, I mean, I liked the movie Ghost Dad. Like I said, that was a VHS that we owned and watched constantly back in the day. Uh, what else did we watch from Bill Cosby back in the day? Like I don't really remember anything else. So was I a Bill Cosby fan? I mean, outside the Jello commercials, I mean, it was disappointing to hear, but like you weren't like heartbroken, but you're like, okay, good riddance. Yeah, Vince McMahon, same thing, man. That right there, that Vince McMahon was disappointing. Like you see Vince McMahon in Coliseum videos, and you see him on TV and stuff. He just always seemed like this good natured guy. Like you never, and then you hear like all these behind the scenes stories of how he acted and how he was, and complete opposite of how he was portrayed on TV. I'm like, that was so disappointing. But then again, you go and you watch him. Like I didn't watch wrestling again in the latter half of the '90s. I stopped watching in '97 ish, '98. I was definitely gone by '98. So when he became this damn steroid induced gym rat, you know, Mr. McMahon in the late '90s, that that seemed more like the Vince that everyone's talking about. That wasn't my McMahon. My Vince McMahon was always decked out in a nice blazer jacket and whatnot, and was always calling wrestling matches. So, and kind of hearing all of the accusations against him, that right there makes a lot of sense. And when you're a multi-billionaire, you think you got all the power in the world. So, yeah, I'm not surprised to hear that stuff. To hear those allegations. Mm. Yeah, I don't treat Vince McMahon the same way no more either. Let's see. The Andres are larger, so the price is a little more, but does match some of the recent BRGs. More than $50 for the two newer match BRGs. Two new Macho Mans. So, hey, Fly, for the two newer Macho Mans, Big Rubber guys, are you talking about the Macho King one, or are you talking about the newest? What was it? The Cincinnati Reds Macho Man? Because I haven't picked up that one yet. Like I just got in the Macho King one, but that was like a pre-order from several months ago. I don't remember what that one was. I thought that was $50, but that could have been a little bit more expensive. Trump. uh, uh, the PDF. Mm. Uh, yeah, man, the freaking internet, they're already like going crazy with Hulk Hogan. According to Jammers on eBay, he said that I was watching his video this morning and they said like one of the magazines were selling for like $75 for one of the magazines. Like, and he was like, no, this particular magazine is like a $15 magazine. And some people are asking for $75. I'm like, you know what? That to me, that's disrespectful. When Mattel pulled their Hulk Hogan off the shelves, or pulled their Hogan from the lineup, I thought that was a classy move. That was respectful. Yeah, there is a Hulk Hogan as part of Series One that is going to be available for purchase, right, at some point, I would imagine. But they weren't going to make it as part of a pre-order because the man just died, and I don't know what they're going to do with that. Are they holding it off a couple more days because kind of like a sort of remembrance type of deal? Or are they going to kind of come back and be scummy too? Were they going to sell it for $25 originally? Or are they going to come back and be like, hey, you know what? He just died. And now we're going to sell this for $100. I hope not. Or are they going to be like, you know what? This was originally pre-ordered for $25, but we're going to change the card back. And now we're going to make this a sort of commemorative piece in honor of him or something. Who knows? I just hope that if it does come back up in the next few days or so, that I'm aware of its availability and it doesn't sell out before I'm able to buy one or two, because I definitely want to get I definitely want to get a couple for the collection. But I feel like somebody is gonna jump on there, and one single person is gonna buy up like 20 of them, and I'm like, please don't do that. um, and they're gonna once they get it in, they're gonna put it on eBay for like $500 each, and if that happens, I would hope that whoever is selling it for $500 a pop, that nobody buys it ever, and the price just keeps dropping and dropping and dropping until it goes back down to like $25. Because it's one thing to be a reseller, but like I said, reselling and scalping is two completely different businesses. So, alrighty. How does the figure feel? The 12 inches versus the 8-inch Latoonie. The 12-inch figure is a hard plastic, really hard plastic. So, if you do have if you had like the 12-inch, talking figure with the drawstring, it's very similar to that one. So, with your 8-inch figure, it's literally a rubber figure, just like your LJNs. So, It's hard plastic compared to rubber, soft rubber. So complete different. It's not rubber to rubber or anything like that. If we weren't short-handed at work, I'd fake diarrhea so I could watch. uh, BBA is hilarious. Oh man, we're gonna see a lot of Hulk Hogan's in stores. Hell, man, any Hulk. I'm trying to think if I have any Hulk Hogan figures on my eBay or Mercari stores. I probably do, but they're all part like bundles and stuff. But every time I'm trying to sell something, people are always coming like under like, and that's what drives me crazy. Whenever I'm trying to sell something, like I will put like a bundle of like 40 Hasbro's up for sale, and I will start the bid at like $400, which for 40 Hasbro's for $400 is a fair market value. And considering that once eBay takes out the selling fees, that's like what, $325? And considering what I paid into that, that's like a substantial loss for me. And then, I'll put best offer. And you think for an auction, if you put best offer, normally, someone say, okay, he's got a starting bid $400, best offer. Maybe I'll offer $450 or I'll offer $500. Hell, he's got a starting bid of $400. Let me offer his bare minimum $400. No, people want to offer like $200. I'm like, how are you offering me 50% of my starting bid price? I hate that. That drives me nuts. I'm like, dude, you got a starting bid price. It's because you want that starting bid price. That's your bare minimum. Don't come in at a lower price. That drives me insane. But I might have to start pulling all my stuff off my eBay and Mercari's because that stuff never sells. But I got all the stuff I got all of this inventory that I look at as value, as money in the bank, but it's not money in the bank for me if it doesn't sell, right? You can't really take it to a toy store to sell it that way because, again, they want to give you like 25 cents on the dollar for it, so that doesn't really benefit you either. All right, where did I leave off? Iconic Thrive. Hope you have a great night, bro, and happiness. Hey, man, I'm getting there, buddy. This has been a good discussion. So, I mean, this was an important topic for me today. So, let's get at Playboy. See that? Yeah, dude. Let's like Tessa Blanchard. They talk about her like she's some piece of dirt. I mean, it's. What's the King and the USA one? Yeah. I haven't gotten the. They got the what is it? The Matt Cardona, Big Over Guys USA version, and they also got the Randy Savage red and white Cincinnati Reds version that I really want. I didn't even know that they even had those up for sale yet. But once I get off this, I'm gonna have to go jump on the website and see if it's available to purchase. The people and for years they were requesting Hulk Hogan's. Yeah. Hey, if anybody that watches this live stream, I don't know if you have the ability to, but if you got the opportunity, go on to my YouTube and if you could find my poll, please vote for your favorite action figure that you want me to create. Even if you don't think you're going to purchase one, just kind of give me an idea of which one you'd like to see because I think at last check, I only had like 14 votes, and I definitely want to see which one has the which one has the best value, I guess. I'm gonna keep going back and forth between drinks. I shouldn't do that. I'm gonna make myself sick doing that. I'm gonna stick to the jungle juice for now. There was a Macho Man 4th of July. Damn, I missed that one. Man, I don't have that one. I know they had a Matt Cardona 4th of July, but I didn't get no darn Macho Man 4th of July. And if that's the case, the only way to pick that up is on eBay, and that's gonna sell for like $200. Because there was a freaking bloody, who was it? Oh man, Harley race. There was a bloody Harley race. I think it was like a San Diego Comic. Was it San Diego Comic Con? What is it? I mean, I've never been to these. I've never been to these conventions. I probably never will be to. I never will go to any of these conventions. My buddy Kirk, he mentioned the Maryland Toy Convention that happens every June and November, and he mentioned that he might want to get a booth in this November because he wants to sell a lot of his extra action figures. And he asked me if I wanted to drive up to Maryland and sell any of my extra merchandise. And I'm like, you know what? This November, I might think about doing that because I am having a hell of a time selling on Mercari and eBay, right? My stuff just does not sell. And he said, you know what? Stuff sells like crazy at these conventions. So I'm like, you know what? If you get a booth, I will probably drive up to Maryland and bring all the stuff that I have with me because I've got a million Hasbros and I got like a million zombie sailors and grapplers and gimmicks MOC that I have to get rid of. It's taking up space in my garage and I just need to get rid of those boxes, man. So you set up a booth, I will drive to Maryland and I will sell my stuff in your booth. No problem. But every time I hear this exclusive, it always seems to be like SDCC, San Diego Comic Con. I'm like, well, how often do they have those conventions? I would think something like that would be like once a year, but it seems like they have those things like 5 times a year or something, man. But I didn't get a Macho Man 4th of July Independence Day version. But I got to get that one. I got to get the Harley Race Bloody. And I'm not paying $200 for those figures. I'm sorry. If I can't get them for around 50 or 60 bucks, I'm not doing it. Not for no big rubber guys. I'm sorry. It just won't happen. Yeah, I should have bought up. My buddy Kirk, he mentioned, you know what, we need to start, building up a lot of those Hulk Hogan figures as much as possible. And I've been cheaping out, man. I didn't want to go all in on Hasbro Hulk Hogan's because I have my MOC Hogan's and everything, so I really didn't need to buy more, right? And you don't think that anyone's going to die. You think that people are going to be alive for as long as you're around. And you didn't think Hogan was going to die anytime soon. You thought he was going to be around for many, many years. And so, Kirk was like telling me, hey, you know what? Hulk Hogan was even saying, hey, once he died, all of his stuff was gonna skyrocket in price. But I'm like, okay, if I come across like a Hasbro, MOC Hasbro, um, maybe I'll bid $40 or $50 on it, but I'm not going $100+ for Hasbro Hogan because if I buy it, it's going to be for resale at some point, right? And $100 is basically resale value nowadays. Once upon a time, Hasbro anything would have been $200+, but nowadays it's they're about $100 figures, and sometimes depending on who the character is, they're $50 to $75 figures. So you can only go so high on a purchase price. And also, I'm also saying it out loud. I'm like, look, if I were to be like, hey, I'm buying all these Hogan figures because the man might die one day, then it's like now you're thinking ahead, like you're planning for the man's death. Now you're planning for one of your favorite wrestlers' death. Like that just sounds sick. That sounds like that sounds terrible. So I guess to some extent I'm glad I didn't do that because then I would feel like it would, to some extent, I would kind of feel like I I somehow played a role in his death somehow or something. At least that would be my mindset. So I'm happy with what I have collection wise. Any loose figures that I have of Hogan that I need to sell. I mean, I'm not going to go out and be like, hey, here's a whole Series 1 Hasbro Hulk Hogan, a $10 figure, and try and sell it for $50 now because the man's passed on, If it's a good action figure, good condition, strong arms, good color, everything. If I feel like it's a $20 figure, I'll sell it for $20. But I'm not going to say it's $20 just because the man's gone. If it's a $10 figure, it's a $10 figure. If it's a $7 figure, it's a $7 figure. It's as simple as that, right? Let me read some of these comments. Just dumb luck. I was on my phone when I saw the announcement of the Macho. I bought it just in case. I think I sold out that day. Yeah, I would imagine. I mean, pretty much a lot of big rubber guys. Actually, almost everything I would say when it comes to big rubber guys sell out the same day. Very few items, stay are there the same day, or are there past that date. Actually, there's not a single thing I could think of that's still available afterwards. Maybe Blue Trunks Ric Flair might still be available, but I think that's because they mass order that. Because people have, purple trunks Ric Flair. They have the bloody Ric Flair. They have the red trunks Ric Flair. Now you're coming out with blue trunks Ric Flair. So it's like people already had Ric Flair. So like why you keep releasing the same exact figure over and over and over again. Now you wonder why you have a plethora of blue trunk Ric Flair, but blue trunks Ric Flair came with the championship belt. So it's like that's the one positive about that particular release. Or you got an excess amount of, white pants British Bulldogs. Well, it's because everybody got the blue pants British Bulldogs, so now you don't need the white pants Bulldogs or something like that, right? But oh man, I think I talked about this stuff already, but I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna backtrack on this card because, like I said, a majority of this video was, well, pretty much this entire video was going to be talking about Mattel and its Superstars line. So I want to make sure I definitely hit on this as much as possible. So if I talked about this already, just bear with me. So we talked about the prospects of releasing my line, right? So earlier I mentioned reasons why I was nervous about Mattel coming out with their $25 figures, because, and the reasons why I might have to release my figures at $50 or $100, because I was self-paying. I wasn't doing a pre-order, right? If I did a pre-order, people would pay for the figures, and I could use those funds to, I could use that money to fund the figures myself, or I could use those funds, that money to fund the figures. But it would take 6 months, 8 months, a year, whatever. But I wanted something special for the fans where they could buy the figure, have it immediately. If I completely fund it myself, I can't do it, because if I sell them for $50 a piece, I looked at the cost of the mold. I looked at the cost of buying 500 figures, which is the requirement of the factory. If I sell them for $50 a piece, before taxes are even taken out, before I even, pay Ahmad at Latoonie, his commission for going under his banner, before I pay any of the other guys, their commissions, that's it. That's that I'm wiped out. That's $0 earned. You don't go into business to earn nothing, right? Once I start paying those commissions, I'm basically in the hole. So at $50, what the price I wanted, it doesn't make sense. $50 times 500 figures, that's $25,000. $25,000, that's about what I have to pay into it. So I estimate that I have to sell them for $100 a pop. $100 per sale, that's $50,000 back to me. After taxes, I don't know how much. Let's say I earn $40,000 after taxes. It's probably gonna be less than that, but I'm gonna say 40,000. 25,000 what I paid into it. That means that's $15,000 in profit. Now, $15,000 profit. Now I take that 15,000 and I pay Sin Bodhi, I pay Jason Up, I pay Ahmad their commissions. Now let's say Sin Bodhi, Jason Up, they tell me, you know what, you're good. You don't have to pay us any commission. Jason, he just wants his figure. No money is required. He's good. Sin Bodhi, no commission required. You're good. Awesome. With Ahmad, pay him the Latoonie for going under his banner. Whatever money's left over, maybe I have enough money for the molds for the second figure. Awesome. But I'll have to do the same thing, right? Charge $100 for the second figure. But let's say the same thing. I earn $50,000 on the sale of 500 figures. After taxes, $40,000. It's bone breaking action. He tells me the same thing. I don't have to pay him a commission. Just give him a figure. He's good. I earn $15,000 on that. That might tell me I can buy 2 molds. Maybe both myself as a devil and myself as a soldier. Then I can release 2 figures and potentially expand it from there, right? So really, you're probably going to wait till about the 3rd or 4th figure before I can start seeing some kind of actual improvement, some kind of actual profit. But how often can we get the figures out? Like I'm probably looking like what, every 6 to 10 months. So at one figure every 10 months, let's say one figure every 8 months. It's going to take about 3 to 4 years, and that's a hell of a turn. That's a hell of a wait to start seeing some dividends. But I got to be patient, right? I'm not going to start releasing more than one figure at a time, but if I'm self-financing, that's going to be way too much on me. But the next thing I want to talk about was how does it affect Latoonie and Big Rubber Guys? Well, I've already said I don't think it's going to affect either of those companies because they're both. I think they're both pretty stable in what they're doing. I think DJ Dark mentioned earlier that Mattel is trying to put Matt Cardona and the guys at Major Wrestling Figure Podcast out of business. Essentially, they're seeing how well the LJN style figures are doing, and they're trying to capitalize on that. Well, here is the thing. It's like you see all of these, customizers, just regular run of the mill customizers, guys like you and me. They're taking your run of general mill Hasbro figures, they're customizing them, they're creating Big John Stud, or they're creating Bastion Booger, or they're creating Mean Gene Oakland, etc. And they're selling on eBay. And maybe they're charging $40 for them or what have you. Incredible figures, 3 printed sculpted heads, whatever. Amazing work. Maybe they're creating their own card backs and bubbles and stuff. Some eBay, maybe $100, $125 for these amazing works, pieces of art. But now here comes Big Bad Mattel with their multi-billion-dollar corporation, seeing how well that fans are responding to vintage 1990s Hasbros, and they're coming out with WWE Mattel Retros. So now all these run-of-the-mill customizers of Hasbro figures are basically becoming redundant. Who's going to spend $125 on a Big John Stud Hasbro custom with card and bubble when you could buy a Big John Stud Mattel Retro for $15? An authentic, real-life, name brand Mattel figure. Or, I hate Zombie Sailors, but you know what? You can get a Zombie Sailors $40 figure, name brand store. Grapplers and Gimmicks are coming out with their own Bastion Booger, same thing. I mean, I found customizers who can make better Bastion Boogers for around $40, but still. You want a Bastion Booger custom for $40? Or do you want to go to Grapplers and Gimmicks, get a Bastion Booger figure from the company with card and bubble, etc.? So, and now you see these guys, LJNs, making regular customs. Some guys cut off the heads. They make 3D print scans, create their own LJNs. Awesome, amazing work. All of a sudden, here comes Big Rubber Guys. And they are doing amazing. Selling out like crazy. Latoonie comes out. And oh my God, what they are doing is incredible. Far and beyond what anybody could have expected. Probably even better than what Big Rubber Guys, exceeding what Big Rubber Guys is doing, in my opinion. But not as they don't have the roster that Big Rubber Guys has, but their quality is superb. Random Treasures has what, 70, almost 80 figures, I think. They're customs, and their customs are just blowing away, blowing the market out of the water. Right? So here comes again Big Bad Mattel dipping their toe in the water of vintage retro style figures with the LJNs. So when DJ mentioned, hey, are they trying to put Matt Cardona and the guys at Major Wrestling Figure Podcast out of business? Maybe. Is it possible undercutting them at $25 a pop when these guys are charging you anywhere between $50 to $65 a figure? Also, consider this, guys. This is another issue that I had, and Ahmad brought this to my attention as well. So, I dare say you're one freaking on that. Hey, Irish, thanks, brother. Guys, this is another thing I find interesting. Ahmad pointed this out to me as well. The reason Mattel is able to charge $25 for their figures So it cost about $4 or so for them to make these figures in China, right? And Mattel can order about 80,000 units of these figures through China, and for 80,000 units, it costs about $4. And they can resell them for $25 and make an enormous profit. Mattel is a multi-billion-dollar corporation. They can easily afford to buy 80,000 units. That is chump change. For someone like myself trying to go out and buy 500 units and asking me to pay $25K out of pocket, that is, you might as well ask me to pay $1 million. I mean, that's just a fortune, right? So for them to sell their figure for $25, they can do it. They could sell theirs for $25 and make an astronomical profit. Where I can literally sell my figures for $100 and barely walk away with any profit whatsoever. So that's what you got to take in consideration. And it makes a lot of sense. The percentage, 500 units from me compared to 80,000 units from Mattel. $25 for Mattel, $100 for me. So, hey, James, what's going on, brother? They will end up releasing too many newer styles. Hey, Raquel. Hey, no problem. Hey, thanks for tuning in. Jam, you know what, Jammers? No, man, I honestly think that this is going to be a highly successful business because if you actually look at even the retros had ran for what, 3 years and 10 series, and they went out of business. They were out of line for what, 3 years, I think, something like that. And there was such a huge beloved line. And again, I didn't know anything about this stuff, right? Like I didn't know about retros or I didn't know about this stuff because I didn't start collecting until 2021, at the end of 2021, almost 2022. So, but it was such a beloved line that they had to bring it back. Even if the LJN, WWE Superstars fails after a few series, there's going to be such a huge rush to bring these back that a few years are going to pass and they're going to come back again. But just like with the Remco style superstars and with the retros, where they're mixing in modern wrestlers with old school wrestlers, the LJN superstars, they're going to do the same exact thing. And you got fans like me who are going to buy all of them just because we want the complete collection. Now, yes, a lot of people are going to gravitate towards the old school wrestlers, the 80s guys, and even the early 90s guys more than anything else. But, that's why guys like, John Cena are going to sell out really fast. Dusty Rhodes is going to sell, super fast. And that's why Logan Paul is going to sit on shelves for 1,000,000 years because nobody cares about Logan Paul. And, thank God. I'm surprised scalpers didn't buy out Logan Paul, but maybe they were smart enough to realize, hey, that wasn't going to sell. But at $25, you just never know. But I don't think that the Superstars is going to affect companies like Latoonie. I think they're going to still do their thing and still be able to sign their wrestlers as such. Big Rubber guys, remember, these are wrestlers. Mike Myers, Matt Cardona, etc. These are wrestlers. They're in the business. They're going to have no issues. And we're not talking about $130 figures. We're not talking about customs. We're talking about licensed figures. These are still figures that are going to, when they are sold, portions are still going back to the estate of the wrestler or their families. So same thing with Latoonie. I don't think there's going to be any issues with that stuff. For newer businesses, like I talk about myself as an example, if I wanted to get into the LJN business and try to sell my figures, I feel like I would have a lot of problems trying to sell my stuff. If I was trying to sell it for like $25, yeah, I feel like I could probably make a huge killing at $25. I would also take a huge freaking loss because I would not make any money because it would cost me $25,000 to buy these figures, right? 500 units, and at $25 a pop, that's like what, $15,000 or 12.5, something like that. Yeah, that'd be $12,500, and I paid $25,000 in, so I would earn half of what I paid into it. So yeah, at $25, yeah, I could sell them all out, but I wouldn't earn anything. At $50, I would earn my money back, but I would have to sell them for $100, and that's the tough thing. All right, let's see what we got here. The Macho Man from LJN commercial that Latoonie is putting out, the top shelf idea, I must say, haven't done them yet, but they're presenting me. Hey, bum, yeah, man. The thing is with Ahmad, I say give him a chance with all of his Macho Man figures. That's one of the biggest criticisms that what some fans have with him is because he's putting out so many Macho Man figures, and you got to talk to him. You got to understand why he's coming out with X amount of Macho Man releases. So based on the contract that he has signed with the family, he has to come out with at least 10 figures. So it's not like he could just come out with one figure and then move on to another character, another character. So, and I've spoken to him many times about it. I'm like, hey, a lot of you're gonna I don't want to say you're gonna make a lot of people mad, releasing the same character over and over again. But once I understood the situation, like why he had to come out with so many Macho Man figures, it made sense. And it's not like he's coming out with the same exact figure every single time. Now, when you got the 89 Macho Man in white and black, when you came out with the Mr. Freeze Macho Man, and then when you came out with the what was it, the orange, the pink Macho Man. Yes, those are all the exact same Macho Man. The Macho Man where you kind of like take the sunglasses off, and even the pink or the white pants and the green trunks Macho Man with the Hasbro style. Got it. Those are all the same one. Okay, gotcha. But then he's coming out with the Halloween Havoc Macho Man, which is pretty freaking awesome, right? Then he's coming out with your 12-inch talking figure type of deal. It's not a talking figure, but it's just your 12-inch scale, like your Hasbro talking figures. He's coming out with that one. He's coming out with that in yellow. He's coming out with that in the white and white and black. He's got your another yellow Macho Man. He's got one in like you said, the commercial variant with the open robe and all the different characters, which I think is amazing. So now he's got other characters, right? Inoki and the Legion of Doom and Ric Flair and they got Tito Santana and Marty Jannetty and who else is coming, man? I'm missing some characters. There's a few other notable characters I'm missing, but also what I'm really loving is that the designs he's coming out with, nobody else is coming out with these designs, so it's freaking incredible. And he's not like these jokers over like zombie sailors or some of these other these other sites where you send ideas to them or recommendations or like, hey, I noticed you did this, this would be my preference or my recommendation, or hey, could you do this or whatnot, and they ignore you, they block you, or they call you out, or they belittle you, whatnot. This guy actually listens to the fans, because what are we? We are the consumers. We are the ones that are gonna, buy from you and keep you in business, right? So he actually listens to us and makes those on the spot modifications, and I love that. Any one of us can reach out to him at any time, and he'll take the time to talk to us, and I think that's incredible. So this is one of the reasons why I hold him in such high esteem. He's not just someone who just does one single thing. He's bringing us Remco style figures. He's bringing us Hasbro style figures, LJN style figures. He's going to come with the Gloops eventually. He's bringing us the 12-inch talking style figures. They're not talking yet, but they will eventually, I'm thinking. So it's only a matter of time. So there's so many ideas that they're just so perfect. And I reached out to him about my own personal LJN line. He could have looked at me and told me, you know what? F off. You are a competitor. I don't want to have anything to do with you. He didn't do that. No, he's been talking to me, been working with me, giving me ideas, telling me what to expect. Basically, trying to teach me the ropes about the different processes. Hell, he's even been trying to bring me on and help me get my figures under the Latoonie banner. I think that is so incredible. Okay, so when I say that I have mad respect for what AJ is doing at Latoonie, there is a reason why I give so many shout outs for his business. If there's anything figure wise that I don't like, yeah, I'm a fan, first and foremost. And when I do my reviews, if there's something I dislike, yeah, I'll say, hey, maybe there's something about this I don't like. Thus far, I've been pretty much enthusiastic about everything that I reviewed, so that's been pretty awesome. But just like any action figure, any like grapplers and gimmicks, zombie sailors, wrestle something, basically anything I review, I will give shout outs for those that deserve it. I will give critiques where it's necessary. So, but he's been one of my favorite people to deal with. So, I just basically said a lot there. Sorry. They got backtrack. Sorry, I missed a bunch of questions here. Sorry, guys. But yeah, Bum, if you get the opportunity, man, at least get a couple of those figures. The White Trunks 89 Macho Man on black card, I would think at that one at least would be a high priority. I don't know if you're an MOC collector, but if so, that one would be awesome for display, because Macho Man, to have a black card Macho Man, not many people are going to have a Macho Man on black card, right? And an original Macho Man on LJN on black card is like what, a few $1,000 I mean, you're never going to see a Macho Man on black card come up for sale. And if you do, like I said, it's going to be several thousands of dollars. But at least getting a type of Macho Man, maybe not the pink trunks, purple trunks, Grand Toys, black card Macho Man, but at least you'll get a white trunks, right? And it kind of gives you that 89 SummerSlam Zeus and Macho Man versus Hogan and Beefcake. So, it gives you a nice reference. Now, the blue Mr. Freeze Batman Macho Man, I like that one a lot. I always call it the Cyclops because it reminds me more of X-Men than Batman. But, when I kind of looked at that one, I'm like, what is this? I mean, I didn't know anything about that. Like, I was curious about that one when I first saw the pictures way back when. And like I said, I always thought it reminded me of X-Men Cyclops. But when I talked to AJ about it, and he kind of gave me the backfill. And I love these mishmatch of action figures, right? Like when you get like these Motu meets horror, like the Funko figures, where it's like Masters of the Universe meets Freddy Krueger and Halloween and Hellraiser and stuff like that, right? Or you get Grayskull meets first Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, or WWE meets Ninja Turtles, or WWE versus what's the other one? He-Man versus Ninja Turtle, He-Man and WWF, or something like that, right? So all these mishmatches, I like those a lot. So kind of the way he mixed Batman and the wrestling into one, I like that mishmatch a lot. Plus, the card back itself was really freaking cool. And the cards are so super thick. Reminds you of the original San Francisco toy makers, which I think have one of the coolest and hardest card backs. And that's the reason why they're one of my favorites. All right. Will the LJN be exactly like the original? Because if so, guys like the Ultimate Warrior and King Kong Bundy in Series 2 will. Hey, Jammers. Yeah, man, I talked about that earlier. Based on photos, they look exactly the same to me. They looked exactly the same, and that is exactly what I was complaining about earlier in the video. Because, as I mentioned, I own an original. Well, man, I own all of them, but in particular, I own an original Series 6 Grand Toys Ultimate Warrior. And based on condition, an Ultimate Warrior can go anywhere between $3,500 to $12,000. If the bubble's damaged coming off the card, it could be about $3,500. If it's mint perfect, about $8,000 to $9,000. If it's AFA graded, maybe up to about $10,000, $12,000. And if your average Joe could just go to Mattel or go to Target and buy the Mattel Superstars for $25, who's going to want an original Grand Toys for $3,000 when you can get one for $25? And I'm like, that's wasteful for me. I spent all this money, spent 2 months worth of mortgage on this action figure. It was a Holy Grail pickup, one of the most expensive. I'm trying to think if it was. I think it was the most expensive purchase. Probably the highest. I'm trying to think if the Ultimate Warrior, Andre the Giant, or if Big Boss Man. Which one of those were the most expensive? Now, Big Boss Man was a AFA graded figure because they were all in the threes. But regardless, it's as a collector and as a fan, I mean, that's a slap in the face to say that this guy could buy this for $25. And yeah, there's chases. I heard that one person could get a blue card, another person could get on a black card, but I hate that. I mean, as a fan and as a buyer, yeah, I love it to an extent, but I also see it on the other side, where as someone who already owns one, if I didn't own it myself, yeah, I would love it. But I already do own it, so it kills me. Um, I'm happy, I guess, for those who don't have a black card Ultimate Warrior to get their own black card, I guess. But I'm happy for them, but I'm also disappointed for myself. I will never sell my black card Ultimate Warrior, but if I ever needed to, I would like the option to be able to get my money back and be able to pay bills. Or, what if, you know, I don't want to say names because I don't want to, knock on wood, risk their health or anything. But what if so and so got cancer and I needed that money immediately for pay for surgery or something, right? Um, my collection isn't worth their health. So, and that was a high dollar item. I would sell that in a heartbeat to get them cured or whatever. So, and if I couldn't sell that and get my money back, that would suck. and no, so how does the release of the Mattel Retro or the new Mattel Retro LJNs, how does that impact the existence of current LJNs? It may not affect it at all, or it may completely ruin its resale value. I personally think it will hurt the value. Some people think it won't have no impact at all, but I feel like it will. Uh, yeah. Yeah, because of the photos, they look identical. I think Bundy, you probably will not be able to tell the difference. Maybe. Because that freaking original Bundy was a brick. I don't know if I mean, I guess we won't know until we actually get it in hand, right? But the original Bundy was a brick, so I really can't say for sure. But the original Ultimate Warrior, because of the Grand Toy stencil on the foot, I highly doubt that Mattel is going to put Grand Toys 89 on the bottom on the foot. So that right there is going to be a definitive, that's going to give you a definite, hey, this is a Mattel figure. This is a Grand Toys figure. So you should be able to tell the difference between the two. I don't really think that's going to be an issue to tell the two apart. It's like with your clones, like you get a grand an LJN or a Grand Toys, or if you get a Random Treasures clone, you're going to be able to tell the difference because Random Treasures doesn't put the stamp on the bottom of the foot. When I went back later and saw they sold out, I went ahead and pre-ordered the Paul 1-2 just to have the complete set. Yeah, man, I got this. I got all of them. And did I buy? Yeah, I think I bought all three. I bought all three, and I think I got 2 sets. So did I buy? Yeah, I think I bought 2 sets. So I'm gonna keep them carded, and then the second one I'm gonna open up so I have a loose piece for the collection, and I'm probably gonna picture frame the posters as well. Now, where do I put the picture frames? Because there's no more space left in my actual display room downstairs, and now I'm not got anything in this room, so I don't know where I'd put those pictures. Do I keep them in that little book with all the other secondary posters, or do I put them in frames, keep on the floor? I don't know. Maybe hanging them up in the garage, possibly. I'm not sure. I just hope that there's an end in sight. Like Hasbro had like 90 figures, right? And LJN had like 72 figures or so. When you look at something like zombie sailors, and you look at like grapplers again, there doesn't appear to be an end in sight. They're just releasing figures at will. It could be 300 figures, it could be 800 figures. You just don't know. It could be the year 2032, and they could be releasing figure number 4,561, and be like, damn, like, can where does it end? So I just want there to be an end in sight. Whether there's going to be 50 figures released, 100 figures, I just want there to be an end in place. Unlike or free, look at Jakks Pacific. When I decided to start collecting Jakks Pacific Classic Superstars a few years ago, I didn't know anything about the figures, and I've always said I don't care about the figures themselves. Outside of the box, I hate them. They're crap. I don't care about the Jakks Pacific Classic Superstars out of package. I love the box sets. The box sets in the black box sets look amazing. I collect them just for the box. In package, they look spectacular. And I wanted to collect the entire set. I never realized that there were like 10 gazillion freaking box sets of Jakks Pacific Classic Superstars. So between the single packs, the dual packs, the triple packs, I probably got like 150, 160 of those packages. And I'm thinking, okay, I'm almost done. And then one day I looked them up and there was like 500 plus 600 sets. I'm like, okay, I'm done. I'm not going for all of these. There's just no way. There was just no way possible to collect them all. So I just hope with the LJNs that just it doesn't fall into that same category, right? New Latoonie Macho King is in a different pose, which is great. Yep. There's going to be a few different Macho Mans. So I'm glad that Ahmad did away with the hoe. You got several in this version. And when he moved away from that, I'm like, thank you. I mean, that was fine for one figure. But when you got to the second figure, I'm like, no, that's too much. By the time you got to the third figure, I'm like, And when I started talking to him about that, I'm like, we need to get something new. We gotta get away from this. But I'm loving that he's getting new figures, new poses. But he's almost done with Macho Man because, like I said, he's got 10 figures. He's contracted to 10 Macho Mans, so he's almost done with his contractual obligation. I'm kind of eager to see who else he's got coming. But oh man, the three Andres he's got. Talk about bricks. King Kong Bundy from LJN was a brick. Those Andre the Giants from Latoonie. Oh god, those darn things are like yay big. You get them by the foot. Those, King Kong Bundy. I mean, he's small. He's like yay big, right? You get him by the feet. You only got about that much space to hit somebody with. But Andre the Giant, you got him by the feet. You got like that much space. You freaking kill somebody with that darn sucker. You don't want to use Andre to give to your kids to play with. You don't want to be an adult. Use Andre the Giant to store as a display piece for your artwork, for art piece. Nah, man. You want to buy that Andre just to use to beat and shooter with. Oh god. How insane is that? You just want to use Andre as a darn weapon. Give that to your police department. You don't need a baton. Nah, man. Carry around your Latoonie Andre. That would be freaking amazing. I would laugh my freaking ass off at that. The flare stripping is great. What was that? The WCW Ric Flair starts taking all his clothes off, has the shoe and the money wad in his hands. Oh man, that figure should be coming out soon. Actually, that was a pre-order. I think that pre-order came out back in like what, October? No, not October. Was it October? I think that was a pre-order late 2024. So that figure should be shipping not too much longer. But yeah, man, that's one of those figures I'm really looking forward to. That Ric Flair. That's actually one of the Ric Flairs that I mean, I really didn't care too much about the big rubber guys, Ric Flair figures that have come out. I mean, they've all been spectacular. Don't get me wrong, but I mean the first Ric Flair in Series 3 from big rubber guys was good, but the one from Latoonie, the one with the shoe and the money wad, that one I've been super ecstatic about. So I'm really hoping that one comes in not too near in the not too distant future. Oh man. Oh man, there's a lot of comments I'm missing. Darn. I'm talking too much. I'm not reading through the comments fast enough. Sorry guys. I'll try and go faster through this. Where did I leave off? Sorry. It's a lot said. Did you grab the Hasbro sized ones? Yeah, for the Hasbro Macho Mans, I only got 2 of them. I thought I got all of them, but I looked at my shelf. I only got 2. I got them both carded and loose. I got the green trunks and white trunks Macho Man. And I think I ordered all 3 variants of Andre the Giant Hasbro style figures, but that was ordered back in like what, February, I think. So it's probably gonna be a while before those come in. All right. You gonna blow up with your own figure line? And before, thanks, man. I hope so. Shoot, but if we only do one figure at a time, I've been talking to the wife, and I've been letting her know I've been wanting to create my own action figure line, and she she's not happy. Uh, I don't think she does. She wants me to run my own company. I think she's worried that I will not be successful. Either that, or she don't think that people will buy my figures. Which, don't get me wrong, I feel the same way. I'm worried as well, right? So, I mean, that's always a fear for any entrepreneur, any business, is that your business is going to fail. So, especially if you're investing a lot of money into it. Um, when I followed through and decided to create the GoFundMe, I was hoping that would do something. I mean, obviously, I had a few friends that donated and that helped with a little bit, but I mean, it's nothing. It's not a whole lot. Obviously, we're still a long ways away. Um, yeah, that's been up for a few weeks. I mean, that's it is what it is. I never really thought it was going to do anything. I didn't think, I wasn't expecting anything. I just put it up to see what would happen. So I always kind of knew that I was going to have to self invest. I've talked about it, man. I don't want to do pre-orders. I don't want to make people have to pay for it ahead of time. I wanted, I really coveted the idea of having them on hand. I wanted to be different in that regard. But I was talking to the wife today, and And I'm like, I might need to do like 25,000. And she's like, what? I was thinking more like 10,000. I'm like, nah, I can't. There's just no way. 10,000 is basically what it's going to cost for like the mold. AJ was like 6,000. I've said this already, right? 6,000 for the mold. And I don't know why molds cost so freaking much money. So NetRam Treasure, she was telling me that molds would be like $1,000 if I did a mold with her. She would do like 20 to 25 molds for $1,000. And I'm like, wait, I could just do that through Random Treasures, right? And 25 molds is feasible. But then I crunched the number, and you think about it, like, wait a minute, it actually balances out, right? Because $1,000 for 25 molds, let's times that by four. $4,000, 100 molds. So if we say $6,000 gets you roughly 200 molds, 300 molds, that makes sense, right? So when AJ was like $6,000 for 250 to 300 molds, maybe another $6,000 for another 200 to 300 molds. That way when a factory requires you buy 500 molds, that's it makes sense. So it wasn't that her molds were cheaper. It's just that it was for a smaller quantity. So it wasn't actually saving money or anything. But her, again, what I said before, I don't want these to be considered customs because they shouldn't be customs, right? They should be original figures like Big Rubber Guys, like Latoonie. And I want them to be carded, bubbled, postered, even if possible. But I could potentially go through Ram Treasures for the first time go, right? And have Ram Treasures produce, let's say, 25 Jason Nupp figures and see how well those sell. But then again, that would eliminate 25 potential buyers from my lot of 500 if I decide to go the big route, right? So I don't know. There's so many options, man. There's so much that goes into my thought process, and this is why I like talking to you guys about this stuff, because as I'm going over this, there's just so much information, so much pondering. I know I'm going to bite the bullet. I know I'm going to do it because I feel like the more and more I talk about it, I would fail myself, but I feel like I would fail you guys if I didn't do it. All right, let's read some of these comments, shall we? How much in price an LJN back card of Hulk Hogan has gone up this week? Shoot, man. Man, when I bought this one right here, and this is my second one, and I bought this one on auction from Canada. I got this one for like $350, I think. And this isn't an original 5-back. Now, the one I have downstairs in the main display room is a 5-back. So I would probably assume that 5-back, I mean, I think that one is the bubble is kind of yellowed though. But even though it's a yellow bubble, it's still original 5-back, right? With him gone, I would probably think that card would probably be up to $700. 3, 6. So for a 22-back in this condition, I still think that I don't think this really would have gone up in price that much. I think that this would probably be, you know what? This is actually AFA graded. AFA graded 70. But you know what? It's not really AFA 70 because it's got a big old hole right up here. So I think at some point when the person got it back from the from AFA grading during shipping, I think it was damaged in transit. Yeah, up here there's a big old damage to the bubble where the bubble is separated from the card. Yeah, so that AFA 70 on here is not even valid.